Vietnam is an attractive destination for foreign investors. But when facing foreign ownership restrictions, some investors look for shortcuts. One of the most common is using a nominee structure. On paper, it appears simple. In reality, it carries one of the highest legal risks in Vietnam. And many investors only realize this when it is too late. A nominee structure typically involves a Vietnamese individual or company holding shares on behalf of a foreign investor. The foreign investor provides the capital and expects to retain control through private agreements. However, under Vietnam law, the registered shareholder is the legal owner. This creates a fundamental gap between who owns the shares in practice and who owns them legally. There are several reasons why foreign investors consider nominee structures in Vietnam. They may want to enter restricted sectors where foreign ownership is limited. They may want to speed up company registration or avoid complex licensing procedures. In some cases, it is seen as a cost-saving strategy. While these motivations are understandable, they often underestimate the legal consequences. The key risk lies in the difference between beneficial ownership and legal ownership. In Vietnam, legal ownership is what matters. Courts and authorities recognize the name on the company registration, not private agreements behind it. This means that even if you fund the entire business, you may not have enforceable rights over it. To secure their position, investors often rely on nominee agreements, powers of attorney, or loan contracts. These documents aim to give control back to the foreign investor. However, under Vietnamese law, these agreements may not always be enforceable. If they conflict with mandatory legal provisions, they can be challenged or invalidated. In practice, they do not eliminate the underlying risk. There have been real cases in Vietnam where foreign investors lost control of their companies. In some situations, the nominee refused to transfer shares back. In others, internal agreements could not be enforced in court. Even long-term relationships can break down when financial interests are involved. When that happens, legal protection may be limited. Many nominee arrangements are built on trust. A trusted friend, employee, or business partner is chosen as the nominee. But business environments change. Relationships evolve. Without legal ownership, your control depends on cooperation, not enforceable rights. This is a fragile foundation for any serious investment. Beyond ownership issues, nominee structures can also create regulatory risks. Authorities may question the true ownership of the company. This can affect licensing, tax compliance, and even future expansion. In certain cases, it may lead to administrative penalties or operational restrictions. Compliance is becoming increasingly strict in Vietnam. The reality is that nominee structures cannot be made completely risk-free. Some legal strategies can reduce exposure. These include carefully drafted agreements, layered control mechanisms, and additional safeguards. However, these measures only mitigate risk. They do not eliminate it. Understanding this distinction is critical. Instead of relying on nominee arrangements, foreign investors should consider alternative structures. These may include setting up a 100% foreign-owned company where permitted, or forming a properly structured joint venture. In some cases, a business cooperation contract may be more appropriate. Each option has its own legal and commercial implications. Many investors treat nominee structures as a temporary solution. Others rely on informal advice without legal verification. Some believe that private contracts are enough to secure their rights. These assumptions often lead to long-term problems. The cost of fixing a wrong structure is usually much higher than doing it correctly from the start. At LTS Law, we advise foreign investors on investment structures in Vietnam, including the risks of nominee arrangements. We help you evaluate whether such a structure is appropriate. If used, we design legal safeguards to reduce exposure. More importantly, we explore compliant alternatives that better protect your interests. A nominee structure in Vietnam may appear to solve short-term challenges, but it introduces long-term legal uncertainty. Before proceeding, it is essential to understand how Vietnamese law treats ownership and control. Your investment deserves more than assumptions. Visit lts.com.vn to consult with our legal team and structure your investment in Vietnam with clarity and protection.